What's going on, and welcome to the Solo Shot. My name is Tom Vecchio. I'm here to break down tonight's MLB slate. Jim is off today, so I am back. I was here about a month ago. It's going to be business as usual, going over the three pitchers, the three stacks, some things to look for. 13 games, as I said, it starts at 7:05. We actually have a few weather notes to get to, so let's hop in there because there's a number of different games that are going to be impacting tonight's slate. As always, I will refer to Kevin Roth on Twitter. I am not a meteorologist. He is, so I always be referring to him as I have for many years. This is the Solo Shot. This is one of the many shows on the FanDuel Podcast Network. You can find that anywhere, whether it's iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, Google Play. Make sure to give it a like, follow, or subscribe on the given platform. That is greatly appreciated. And you can follow me on Twitter at DFS_Tom. Now, the weather, as I said, is the highlight or the start of today's show just because there's so many different games. Starting off, the Mets at the Pirates has a little bit of weather. That is something to take note of. The Boston at New York game was canceled yesterday. They also have some weather issues today. The big one on tonight's slate is Texas at Toronto. We are interested in the pitching options or the pitching option from Toronto here. We'll get there in a minute, along with Toronto as a stack. And this game could be severely impacted by weather. It should be wet there. We just don't know to what extent and how long. Then we have Milwaukee at Cincinnati. There's going to be scattered thunderstorms. This is also an issue. Looking at some potential pop-ups in Atlanta. It's the summer in Atlanta. We know that should be relatively easy. And then there could be a little bit of rain in St. Louis and in Colorado, which is, of course, an issue because it's a game at Coors Field. So a number of different notes we have to pay attention to today. But more importantly, let's start off. It's the 2021 NBA Finals, and it's tied up at 2 games apiece. And FanDuel and Taco Bell are teaming up to bring you an extra layer of excitement on the action. Introducing the FanDuel Sportsbook and Taco Bell NBA Finals Comeback Bonus. The terms are simple. All you have to do is head to the FanDuel Sportsbook before tip-off and place a bet of $25 or more on a pre-live money line and for either team to win. If that team you bet on overcomes a halftime deficit to win, you'll be eligible to receive a $10 bonus in FanDuel site credit on top of the bet you win, and you'll still earn the bonus. Now, that's more ways to win thanks to our friends at Taco Bell. Users must opt into the promo in order to be eligible for the bonus payout, and this bonus is eligible in every NBA Finals game until the bonus hits. Must be 21 plus and present in Colorado, Iowa, Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Virginia, or West Virginia. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 7 days. Max bonus $10. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. If you're in Colorado, call 1-800-522-4700. In Iowa, call 1-800-BETS-OFF. In Indiana, call 1-800-9-WITH-IT. For confidential help in Michigan, call 1-800-270-7117. In Tennessee, call the Red Line at 1-800-889-9789. Or in West Virginia, visit 1-800-GAMBLER.net. All right, hopping into the pitchers for tonight's slate. We're still waiting on confirmed pitchers for a few teams. But starting off, we have 3 strong pitchers, and I really think that Kevin Gausman, Kyle Hendricks, and Robbie Ray are 3 of my favorite pitchers on tonight's slate. Now, I'm going to be ranking them in a specific order, and that actually starts with Robbie Ray as my number 1 option tonight, coming in at $9,800. Both Ray and Hendricks are both $9,800, a little bit cheaper than Kevin Gausman, who is $10,600. Now, as I said, the weather issues in Toronto present a big problem tonight because Robbie Ray is in such a great spot. He has brought such a strong level of consistency this year. We're seeing a 32% strikeout rate from him, a career low 6.2% walk rate, which if you've been playing MLB DFS for a while, you know that Robbie Ray is always a pitcher that has carried around a 30% strikeout rate, but the walks for him have always been the issue. The 6.2 walk rate he has this year is his career best. He's absolutely looking fantastic. He's coming in with an unbelievable 3.09 Sierra, 3.15 xFIP. He has a 19.6% home run to fly ball ratio. We know the home runs continue to be an issue for him, but the strikeout rate from him we have on tonight's slate is absolutely fantastic. We flip to the Texas Rangers. We know that they are not a strong offense. They come in with a 23.6% strikeout rate. That is 13th against left-handed pitching this year. Not a super heavy strikeout team, but they aren't certainly that amazing. They come in with a team ISO sitting at 144 versus lefties, which is 28th in the league. That's absolutely terrible. We look at their WRC plus, again, not looking too good, coming in at 94. That is 20th in the league. So Robbie Ray, all things considered, his matchup, his salary, the consistency that he brings, he's my number one pitcher on tonight's slate if the game plays, just because we're dealing with the weather issues for the Texas and Toronto game. Like, if this doesn't play, we're losing one of the best pitchers on the slate, because so many of the other pitchers, we can make a case against, where, Lance McCullers, I think he's a solid pitcher. He's $9,700, but there's some inherent danger for him going up against an always powerful White Sox lineup. So that's why, I'm shying away from him just a bit. Kevin Gausman, $10,600 for the San Francisco Giants on the road visiting the St. Louis Cardinals. Gausman is having another awesome year, coming with a 30.5% strikeout rate, a 6.9% walk rate. Great numbers from him. Also great SIERA from him, sitting at 3.31 and a 3.31 xFIP. Not allowing many home runs this year at all, coming with a 7.5% home run to fly ball ratio. It's super, super low. You'd expect some negative regression going back towards the league average at some point for him. But we have seen unbelievable levels of consistency for Gausman really over the past 2 seasons now. We look to St. Louis, a matchup that we're really not particularly worried about when it comes to their overall offensive power, but they simply don't strike out a whole lot. Versus righties this year, the Cardinals have a 21.8% strikeout rate. That's actually the 3rd lowest in the league. So they're very, very disciplined at the plate, which, in theory can limit Gausman's upside, which actually we're shooting for upside. But overall, the matchup is just so easy, because St. Louis comes in with a 148 team ISO versus righties this year. That's 24th in the league. And then we look at their WRC plus, that they're 86th, 86 WRC plus, which is 26th in the league for St. Louis. So kind of the same situation-ish for Gausman and Robbie Ray, where Texas strikes out more, in the split compared to St. Louis, which is why I like Robbie Ray a little bit more. Also, Robbie Ray is just a little bit cheaper. Now, the issue with Kyle Hendricks here, which the same thing I'm going to say for him is true for a lot of pitchers, where he's such a good real-life pitcher, but his fantasy upside can be limited at times because he's just not a big strikeout pitcher. If we look back at this game log, we're looking at 1, 5, 4, 5, a high of 7, 2 strikeouts, 5, 4 strikeouts. That's generally where he's sitting, and that's due to the fact that he comes in with a very, very modest 18% strikeout rate. He has a phenomenal 4.5 walk rate. He has a solid, 4.43 SIERA, which I think is going to decrease as the season goes on. And this matchup against the Diamondbacks is not something that we're worried about. All those numbers I spoke about for St. Louis, they're even worse for Arizona, where Arizona as a team is sitting with a 79 WRC plus. That is the 2nd worst in the league. That's absolutely terrible. And they are dead last in the league when it comes to team ISO versus righties, sitting at 0.129. So I love the matchup for Kyle Hendricks, but we really need him to get to the 6th inning and pick up the win, get the quality start points and the win points with having 4 or 5 strikeouts in order for him to reach his ceiling. So I love the matchup for him. It's just that he's not a big strikeout pitcher. And ultimately, I actually don't think that Kyle Hendricks is going to be super popular tonight, given the fact that he is $9,800. And then we look to Robbie Ray, who's also $9,800, but Robbie Ray has a 30% strikeout rate. So I'm ranking these top 3 pitchers: Ray number 1, Gausman number 2, and then Kyle Hendricks number 3. Of course, we can make a case for a number of other pitchers. I wouldn't mind a few shares of Charlie Morton tonight. I wouldn't mind a few shares of Marcus Stroman. Stroman is kind of in the same boat as Kyle Hendricks, where he's not a big strikeout pitcher, but he's on the road in Pittsburgh. It's a good pitcher's park. We're not worried about the matchup with Pittsburgh. But again, Stroman, not a big strikeout pitcher. So, the top tier of pitching tonight, I want to say is very clear. Robbie Ray, number 1, Kevin Gausman, number 2, and Kyle Hendricks, number 3. Now, as we move on to stacks, we have Coors Field on tonight's slate. When Coors Field is on a slate that I'm talking about, I generally try to make things clear. It's Coors Field. I think we know what we're going to be getting from it. We know the potential for run scoring that they have. As I noted, there was just a little bit of weather here. I'm not super worried about it. It should be just some light showers there. It is warm and there is wind blowing out. We see the Dodgers right now with a 6.55 implied run total. Is absolutely fantastic. The Rockies are sitting here with a 4.95 implied run total. It's Coors Field. You should look to get some exposure to this game as always. I think you should be, going along with the field. I don't think you need to overweight the field. I don't, if you want to fade Coors Field, that's just a tournament strategy. That's a personal decision. That's something I generally don't do. I always like a little bit of exposure to Coors Field. I think it's very straightforward. But tonight, one of my favorite stacks outside of Coors Field, the Toronto Blue Jays. Now, I mentioned that at the beginning, we were interested in the pitching option in Toronto, along with the hitting options, because the matchup for the Blue Jays going up against Jordan Lyles is absolutely fantastic. We look to Jordan Lyles this year, and he's not a particularly strong pitcher. He's allowing 1.59 home runs per 9 this season overall. He comes in with a 4.79 SIERA. He comes with a 4.91 xFIP. Now, the issue with Jordan Lyles, the issues that he has is actually specifically with right-handed hitters. He is a right-handed pitcher, but he's showing reverse splits. This year, he's actually only allowing 0.90 home runs per 9 to lefties. But if we flip to his righty splits, they are absolutely terrible, allowing 2.08 home runs per 9 versus right-handed hitters. And what do we know about the Blue Jays lineup? They often run out 7 or 8 righties, not always 9 righties in their lineup, which means that we are going to be expecting the Blue Jays to be extremely popular tonight because this matchup is just so good. We look to some of his batted ball profile. He's allowing a 37% fly ball rate to righties, a 37% hard contact rate to righties, and a 19.4% home run to fly ball ratio. Again, approaching this 40-40 line that I look for when it comes to fly ball rate and hard contact rate in the split for the pitcher. That's how you know that they are going to be a home run prone pitcher. And because he's so bad against righties, we should see Toronto very popular tonight if the game plays due to the rain issues or rain concerns that we have. So this is very clear that the Blue Jays, with their 5.64 implied run total, are going to be very popular tonight. It's just a matter of, will this game actually play? We look to some of the specific options on Toronto, and it's just loaded with power. And we know this, right? We've known this all season about Toronto. Vlad Guerrero coming in with a 354 ISO versus righties. George Springer, of course, a smaller sample size just because he's dealt with so many injuries this year, but he has a 295 ISO. Marcus Semien, a 254 ISO. Bo Bichette, a 185 ISO. Randall Grichuk, a 180 ISO. And then Kevon Biggio, who's often one of their only lefties in the lineup, still has a 175 ISO. There are multiple players in this lineup with ISOs over 200. There are multiple players in this lineup with WRC pluses over 130. So yes, we want plenty of exposure to the Blue Jays tonight. They should be one of the top stacks on tonight's slate. I'm going to say that even including Coors Field, I think that they are the top stack outside of Coors Field tonight. And just because their matchup against Jordan Lyles, who's so home run prone, is something that we absolutely want to be attacking really at any chance we can get, whether it's cash games, whether it's GPPs. I don't think it really matters. I think you should be getting plenty of exposure to Toronto tonight. Next up, taking a look at the Kansas City Royals tonight. This might be a stack that goes slightly under the radar, but they're going up against Keegan Aiken for the Baltimore Orioles. He is a lefty. This game is in Kansas City. It's not the best hitter's park in the world. It's not the worst hitter's park. Aiken comes in with a 45.1 innings pitched this season, not the largest sample in the world. He has a 21.5% strikeout rate. It's not super high. Not really a dominant shutdown pitcher that we should be worried about. He has a 15.5% home run to fly ball ratio. He's allowing a 40% fly ball rate overall. He's allowing only a 32% hard contact rate overall. But this is certainly a pitcher that has struggled with some home runs to start. I think that we can be looking to the Royals. I kind of like them as a salary saving option tonight. They certainly have some power in their lineup. Sal Perez coming in with a 391 ISO in this split. Hunter Dozier has a 169 ISO. Whit Merrifield only has a 146 ISO. He does have a 106 WRC plus. Not a player that always brings a ton of power to your stacks. We know he has some power, but a super low 10% strikeout rate in this split. We know he can get on base. We know he can steal bases and really just a part of the stack overall. Carlos Santana only has a 143 ISO this season versus lefties. He does have a 133 WRC plus. Hopefully that power will rise as the season goes on. Throughout his career, he's been in the 170s in this split. So he is hitting with less power this season than he has historically. And then if we look to the Kansas City stack overall, they're very affordable. Very, very affordable. Now, Santana was dealing with a wrist issue before the All-Star break. So that is something to pay attention to. But really, this stack is affordable, where Whit Merrifield at $3,500 is the most expensive option. So you go to Whit Merrifield at 35, Carlos Santana at 34, Sal Perez at 33, maybe take a shot at Hunter Dozier at 2,800, and they are very affordable to fit in your lineups. Now, the last stack that I want to look at tonight would be the Oakland Athletics. They are at home. They're going up against Eli Morgan for the Cleveland Indians. Morgan is another young pitcher, only has 21.1 innings pitched at the major league level in his career, all coming this season. Modest 22.9% strikeout rate for Eli Morgan, a 4.2% walk rate. Nothing super crazy. He does have a 21.6% home run to fly ball ratio, which is worse than the league average. Again, a small 21 inning sample size. We have to take it with a grain of salt. Also, a 13% barrel rate is not good for Eli Morgan, but again, small sample size, allowing a 55% fly ball rate and a 39.7% hard contact rate. So again, take this with a grain of salt. It's a small sample size, but when this situation arises where we have a young pitcher that they look okay, they look great, they look bad, they're all over the place. We are dealing with a small sample size, but I'm still going to be leaning on the team with the hitters that have the power, that have the experience at the major league level. And that means going to the Athletics with many players in their lineup. You can stack many players with ISOs over 200. Matt Olson having a fantastic year with a 263 ISO. Seth Brown, a 226 ISO. Sean Murphy, a 224 ISO. And Ramon Laureano with a 212 ISO. Jed Lowry, 177. He's a little bit cheaper, not bringing as much power. But we have multiple players in this lineup we can be targeting. Even Tony Kemp bringing, next to no power, but he does have a 114 WRC plus, and more importantly, he can help you round out an athletic stack if that's where you're looking to go. They're not super expensive. Matt Olson is $3,900, certainly the most expensive option, but we are looking at multiple options in the low 2,000 range or a high $2,000 range. Sean Murphy is $2,500. You could certainly look to add him in there. Matt Chapman, didn't touch on him, but he's $3,300, having a little bit less power this year than he has in years past, but certainly a player you can trust in a stack. So Toronto, I want to say, is very, very clearly the best, or my favorite stack on tonight's slate, outside of Coors Field, I should say. My favorite stack outside of Coors Field, I think attacking Jordan Lyles is something that we're going to be seeing plenty of pitchers doing. Attacking Jordan Lyles as a pitcher is something we should be seeing plenty of players doing, just because there's so much power in that Toronto lineup. I think that it's very clear we should see Toronto as one of the most popular options. I'm looking to Kansas City as a bit of an under-the-radar stack. I also like the salary relief that they bring. I think you can pair them off nicely with some more expensive stacks. Now, the final three things to look at on tonight's slate. Number one, this is something that I don't normally do, but Julio Urias for the Los Angeles Dodgers. They are at Coors Field. Taking a pitcher from Coors Field is not something that I normally do, but I kind of like going to Urias tonight. He's $8,900, which I think is a great salary for him. Hopefully, we're going to be seeing him not as popular just because he's a pitcher at Coors Field, which is good. I think he's in the mid-range of these pitching options, which could have him, go a bit overlooked, which is good. But more importantly, Colorado, they are not good. They're not good this year overall, but they're also not good versus lefties. So if I'm looking to go, obviously, a tournament-only strategy, I'm looking to go to Julio Urias at $8,900 tonight, going up against the Rockies. Again, a strategy only for tournaments. Taking a pitcher at Coors Field always has inherent danger. But the performances that we've seen from Urias this year, combined with the fact that we are not seeing significant power or consistency from the Rockies this season, has me a bit interested. So I'll have a few shares of him in tournaments. It's going to be just a couple, but I do think that is a pitcher that you can go to tonight if you're looking to differentiate in tournaments. Another stack tonight that I actually have a little bit of interest in is the Seattle Mariners. Now, everyone will say, oh, the Mariners aren't good. Why would we go to them? They're on the road. They're going up against Andrew Heaney for the Los Angeles Angels. And, Andrew Heaney, for as much upside as he brings with a 28.5% strikeout rate, which is very solid. We've seen him at this level in years past. Ultimately, I think he's just a very, very average pitcher. He's allowing 1.64 home runs per 9 this season. Everyone's going to look at some of his peripheral stats and see, oh, he has a 3.71 Sierra, 3.85 xFIP. We see all these things. They look good. He has a 43.7% fly ball rate, and he has a 35% hard contact rate overall. The home runs continue to be an issue for Andrew Heaney this year, specifically against right-handed hitters, allowing 2.04 home runs per 9. Listen, a 44% fly ball rate versus righties is not good, and it's clearly getting to him with those over 2 home runs per 9. So going to the Mariners, going to some of their, hitting options on the right side is something that I have a bit of interest in. That would probably start with Mitch Haniger. I think that's a solid option to be going to. We do see Kyle Seager, although he's a lefty, he does come with a solid 205 ISO. I think you can be going to him, but really Mitch Haniger, I think, is a solid spot to start if you're looking for another under the radar stack. Maybe throw in some Dylan Moore in there. Maybe if I'm just talking myself into this, and as the day goes on, I'll get away from this. But I do like Seattle. The home run upside is clearly there for them against Andrew Heaney. So we covered an extra pitcher I like with Urias, an extra stack that I like with Seattle, and then finally, home run call for tonight. That is going to be Marcus Semien for the Toronto Blue Jays. Hopefully this game does play because they're in such a great spot going up against Jordan Lyles. Again, Lyles is allowing over 2 home runs per 9 against right-handed hitters this year. Marcus Semien is bringing plenty of power with an over 40% fly ball rate versus righties this year. This is something that we absolutely want to be capitalizing on tonight. We want to be stacking Toronto tonight. We want to be stacking them any way you possibly can, any way you can possibly afford them. I really think they are going to be a fantastic stack on tonight's slate. So we have some weather to pay attention to as the day goes on. There's a little bit of showers in Colorado. The main issue is with this Toronto and Texas game because we like Robbie Ray and because we like the Toronto stack so much. All right, so that does it. I will be back at 4 p.m. for the Q&A. Go over any questions. Once we get some confirmed starting lineups, we'll run through some stacks for that. As always, this is one of the many shows on the FanDuel Podcast Network. You can find it anywhere, whether it's iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, Google Play. Make sure to give it a like, follow, or subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at DFS_Tom. Until next time, good luck in your contests.